Hey, in case you weren't listening to the last few videos, the rest of the series will be on my other channel, RABIT, as in R-A-B-I-T. I'm telling you this now because this is the last episode uploaded to Mace 2.0. If you're looking forward to this series, then follow the White Rabbit. Links in the description or the top comment. And on with the video. Back when I was a young kid, I watched this weird show involving two metal boxes destroying each other. Heck, it was popular enough to garner some merchandise, a Simpsons episode based off the sport, and even a McDonald's deal. Cool. So what about video games? Outstanding. Despite these Game Boy Advance adaptations are quite crap. But there's a full-fledged console game that was planned but not released. And on this episode, we spent a good $40 on an RC car with ineffective weapons and watch it get demolished by a bigger robot.
Oh, here's the shot!
So ladies, gents, trans and roboteers, welcome to Lost Legends, the Battlebots game that never was. In this chapter, we talked about how the games came to be in a brief historical matter. This time we'll be talking about Battlebots, the TV show. To give you the history of the whole robot combat sport in a nutshell, it started with Mark Thorpe, who tried to make his own Roomba, but it didn't pan out. With that, he got an idea to make this a gladiatorial combat sport, but instead of people, it's radio-controlled robots. And that leads to the creation of Robot Wars, and their first events held in San Francisco, California. After a few events, Thorpe partnered with a British TV company called Mentor Media, and made it a TV show held in the UK and aired on BBC, with the first host being none other than Jeremy Clarkson. Not everyone moved to the UK to join the Robot Wars crusade. In 1997, Greg Munson and Edward Roski founded Battlebots. The novel concept of robot combat was relatively new at the time, so they changed the former Robot Wars format into something akin to boxing. You know, the red and blue squares, the elimination style tournament, cheesy introductions, and even weight classes. Unlike Robot Wars, they did the production themselves. Their first events aired on pay-per-view in August 1999 at Long Beach, California. It was a success. Their next one held in Las Vegas, and now is used as a pitch pilot of what would have aired on national television. They tried selling this to several networks such as CBS, NBC, HBO, and to no avail, until Comedy Central picked it up. This novel show was a huge hit. For a time, they even beat the network's animated juggernaut, South Park, in terms of ratings for a while. The show even had guest appearances like Jay Leno, Bill Nye the Science Guy, Mythbusters' Jamie Hyman and Adam Savage, Gary Coleman, and Sims creator Will Wright. Some of these guests also competed in the sport with their own bots. Despite its novel concept and popularity, the show only lasted a whopping 5 seasons, which is a pretty good run in my opinion. The reasons aren't clear. Roski stated that Viacom wanted the Comedy Central brand to focus on its namesake, and series producer Lenny Stucker believed that the network was tired of the show and they just dropped it. Yeah, all this history is nice and all, but what about the game, Mace? I hear you ask. Well, as I said in the intro, Battlebots does have a couple games. For the Game Boy Advance, with Battlebots Design and Destroy, and Beyond the Battle Box by Majesco. I played this one ages ago. It's a mindless button masher with the novel concept of building and upgrading your own custom bots. But that's not the game we're talking about today. We're talking about the cancelled console game by Warhawk Games and THQ for the PS2 and GameCube. According to this old IGN article, THQ secured the Battlebots license in November 2001. Like the Game Boy Advance counterparts, it was going to be a bit more faithful to the show with the physics engine, a wide range of robots, and more than one arena to kick butt. The game was set to release on the 6th gen consoles and even a PC release. So, is there any plot to this game? Not really. It's just simple. Become the Battlebots champion by building your custom bot, upgrading, money management, and pure skill in the battle box. In other words, it's similar to the handheld release. The game made an appearance at E3 2002, which shows some gameplay, and later on a September 5th article of IGN gave an update to the game. THQ dropped the Xbox and PC versions in favor of the PS2 and GameCube, just to get it finished by November. It was delayed, and a January 2003 article gave us a preview of what the gameplay be like. It was shaping up of what's going to be a promising adaptation. But that was the last article for the game, which is a sign that the game is suddenly cancelled. And this leads to the one question.
Why?
I mean, the game's rated T for teen and pushing for a 2003 release. What gives? Well, I'm not gonna beat around the bush here, but I got the axe because the show itself got pulled from the network. In other words, it was too late for a Battlebots game. Although I'll call that baloney. I mean, I've seen Samurai Jack in marathon its entirety. Their last game was Battle Through Time, and that was released 3 years after the 5th and final season ended. Not to mention, that game was fun. You should go play it. Well, we got some details about the game and such, but where's the gameplay in all this? Well, this leads to our next chapter. Sadly, we have no playable build of the video game adaptation. Well, a playable build dumped to the public. Mysteriously, the cancelled game was still on the Battlebots store under the vintage merchandise for $300, but that was sold out, or was never sold. You can buy the Game Boy Advance game for the same price there, but I don't recommend it. The only known footage was from GameSpot 20 years ago. Footage quality was only in 240p, and look at this. This is even more compressed than the first carded video I made. That's what we mostly got, and this would have been a short episode. Since I started writing this on Boxing Day, as it came out of nowhere, a streamer named Gatorbox posted the full Battlebots gameplay on stream at Christmas. Do you believe in miracles? I sure as hell do. The host Draco informed the viewers that he's playing this on Dolphin with a 100% game save, and it's janky to the point there will be crashes. Trust me, that's on the game, not the emulation. For now, we have the highest quality in 720p with over 2 hours of footage. Much better than nothing, beats repeating the same clips from a 5-minute video over and over again. And according to Drake, the build is dated from early 2003, but luckily this isn't the final version before the cancellation. So for starters, we have a few select modes: Quick Battle, Arcade, Tournament, and Multiplayer. Quick Battle is just an exhibition where you pick your and your opponent's robots to fight an iconic battle box. Arcade is like Quick Battle, but you can't pick your opponent's bot, but instead choose an arena. Tournament mode is straightforward, probably used to unlock robots in arenas, and Multiplayer is just a 2-player or 4-player battle. Next, we have robots. Lots of them, ranging in 4 classes just like in the show. Most of them are bots from the show, while plenty of them are original or loose knockoffs of other bots they don't have the licensing to. Sadly, Jay Leno's Chinchilla, Will Wright's Chia bots, or novelty bot Billy Lee Don't Play on the Street won't make it in, probably due to said licensing reasons. For arenas, we have the Battle Box, which is a staple, Golden Gate Bridge, Alcatraz, the Grand Central Terminal, the USS Intrepid, a compound, hangar, dry dock, and Venice Beach. For the gameplay, it's just like in the show, has Mark Bureau announcing the robots, and there are some gameplay bugs in it. For instance, Draco's first match was him playing as Mauler facing off Vlad the Impaler, and most of the fight he was upside down. He was supposed to be counted out if he isn't able to move around or flip himself back, but it went down until Vlad accidentally pulverized itself. The way to win a Battlebots fight only goes down in 2 ways. Kill your opponent before the time runs out, or score higher by the judges by damage, aggression, and control. One of the fun quirks is that if the opponent flips you, they can taunt the player by turning themselves side to side, which is a nice touch. Another thing is the highlight reel, showing the most exciting bits of the match you've played. Moving on to tournament mode, you can build your own bots just like the Game Boy Advance game, and compete in several arenas. You also have a weight and repair system as well, meaning that if your bot weighs over 60 pounds, then you're a middleweight. That means you have to balance on weight and money just to compete. If you lose the match shown here, you are sent to the Loser's Rumble. Winning the Loser's Rumble allows you to restart where you left off, I think. If you lose the Rumble, then you have to restart the tournament. I'm just theorizing from the footage. Also, one more thing. The game also features the only appearance of the notorious Super Ginsu, built by the Battlebots founders themselves. A near 500 pound death box with sawmill blades for wheels that never competed in the battle box. Just like the other Ginsus, it sucks. I mean seriously, the bot ain't got no grip, the saw wheels aren't effective, and despite being a tall target, those blades can be picked off if you manage to hit them in the right way. I'm just saying. For the pre-release chapter, there's very little things to discuss. We have a ton of screenshots for an early version of this game that's in a better resolution, and the only notable difference was the HUD and UI lacking any corrosion. These screens are commonly found in IGN, GameSpot, and Gamers Hell. Even though we have the entire gameplay on stream, but before that and long after the screenshots are posted, we have a lot of nice renders and screenshots posted by the game's artists, Gary Switzer and Merlin Lear. We have most of the OG BattleBots like Backlash, Biohazard, El Diablo Grande, and Dissector. And we also have a render for one of the OC bots made for the game, which is Little Sister. Yeah, that's the entire chapter. However, there's more to discuss on the next one. In Lost Legends, there's a thing I wanted to do but I'm a bit hardwired not to, if you know what I mean. Reaching out to people. I've done this before with Dave Jaffe, but I wanted to do this properly. As in, not going into a live stream to do that. No. I'm going through this by direct messaging and email. One potential and glaring problem is how easy it is for me to be ignored. During the making of this episode, I'm preparing the next one, which I contacted the co-creator of a small but popular game franchise. It's going to be a three-way street. I could get a response, get ignored through the whole production, or I couldn't send the message anyway because they got a whitelist. The purpose here is just me asking some questions related to the games and nothing else. In this case, I decided to talk to Draco himself, and by luck he responded. He said that he was a huge fan of the show and having the game in his hands is a dream come true. If you want to be frank about some of the inconsistent footage quality on the gameplay shown, that's where I have to tell you something. This is new footage for this video. In the live stream we don't see any power-ups. This is an arcade exclusive feature, and Draco unknowingly turned it off. Luckily I could show you the items in action. These power-ups could increase the player's attack rate, defense, speed, electrocute enemies, and one that screws over your opponents. The skull and crossbones one I barely got to see is summoning kill saws, indicating by these squares of death. By the way, I'm still judging this by Draco's gameplay. As for the cut content, I asked him for such things. Well, Kilohertz and Tentomushi were the only ones who didn't make this cut. So I asked him about Buddy Lee, but sadly he was never mentioned at all. Next is the game-breaking bugs I mentioned earlier. In this build we have one unplayable bot, Biohazard. There's something wrong with its data that causes the game to crash. I'm guessing code's unfinished, files missing, or something else. Another is in the tournament mode where one of the stock bots had an invalid intro line from the announcer. This relates to another announcer related bug, and this is what Draco said to me. Mark Bureau will do player 1's introduction just fine as the camera pounds around the robot before the fight. However, the flag to get him to do player 2's intro is set incorrectly, so in order to get him to say it, you have to wait for the camera to start panning around player 2 and then skip the intro to start the fight, which will prompt him to say player 2's intro as the battle is starting. Keep this in mind that this is still an alpha build. He also told me that the Battlebots company likely had the final build before it got canned, and this one here is a late build. Where do I begin? Well, I can sense that the comments be like, Mace, what the hell are you talking about? Battlebots is still going on. True. Battlebots returned with a vengeance in 2015, with bots that are even more crazy than its humble metal box origins. I mean, we got to see drummer bots that could shred other bots like tissue paper, flippers that sent a 250-pound hunk of metal up to 15 feet, flamethrower bots armed with effective saw blades, and even one flamethrower drone got destroyed by the arena itself. Anyways, what about the game? What if the classic show got a 6th season, and the game finally saw a release? I'm willing to bet that the game wouldn't have critical acclaim, but more like an average 7 out of 10 reception. The controls are something that you have to get used to, the camera is a bit awful, the load times would have been optimized, and there's not much variety apart from a 3-minute deathmatch and a 4-player rumble, and I'm just judging this by gameplay. I'm willing to guess that this is the kind of game we want, but the technology isn't there yet. If there's a proper BattleBots game based on the reboot series, it will probably take some influence from this. Now imagine building new custom bots that will face off the likes of Minotaur, Witch Doctor, Monsoon, Huge, and even Tombstone. Well, sign me up. As of now, we have a few robot combat games. Most of them are quite trash, and the only good ones being Robot Wars Extreme Destruction, and recently Robot Champions, which became Smash Punks. Will there be an official BattleBots game in this day and age? If given to the right publisher and studio who cares about the games they made, then BattleBots will be a standout addition against their competitors. For now, what we need to have is some patience. Now, speaking of studios who cared about games they made, the next episode involves one respected developer with an IP that barely got off the ground, along with a few failed attempts to get a sequel going until it eventually succeeds 8 years later. But that's next time, exclusively on RABIT. Anyways, if you like this video, leave a like. If you're interested in this series, then follow the White Rabbit. Channel links in the description and the top comment, unless you're watching this from this channel right now. There's more Lost Legends to come, and if you're interested in my antics, then subscribe to Mace 2.0. As of now, I'll see you later. Bye. Oh, and I almost forgot. I wanted to give a shout out and special thanks to Draco from Gatorbox for providing the extra game footage. The extra footage is raw and over an hour long, so if you want to look at more of the game in its entirety, then links in the description or pinned comment.